Hey people, Maximilian asked me was I going to find text proving who the real Hebrews are. When I was looking at, I seen Katie on my channels over here. There is no such thing as Hebrews. You won't find it in the Hebrew Bible. But if you can understand her when she's doing her comedy, you can understand the Hebrew Bible. So I can't prove who the Hebrews are or aren't because it's an imaginary thing. But I can prove who the covenant was with. This word stays very constant. This stays constant, and I am stays constant, and I. And so the first time that God makes a covenant here is with Noah. And so, Noah, they were the greatest seagoing people in all history. There was like four men and their wives took every animal on the planet and its food and its mate. They lived through the worst storm ever. So they're a seagoing people. And this word and any, and it says, and spoke God to Noah and to his sons with him, saying, and I. And so this is the god of writers in Egypt, Ani. It was the name of whoever wrote this. And that's what this means. This isn't God. This is whoever's got the pencil in their hand. That's who this is. And Annie. And so if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I think that they were gods that wrote this. They were 1,000 times smarter than me. And so what he says here, and any. And that means the writer, and it means any writer. Anybody with the pencil in their hand. And any in them. And any in them. And this is the ancient legal language, and you'll find this in court today, and it's called pimped, and this is the Q, and it's more a F or a P, and some people pronounce it as the K, the Q here, and they was reading this as any in make 'em, and then two, and make 'em two, and so that's the definition for pimped. So anybody getting paid to write, he's a writer, and any pimptive right, the pimptive right, and make to a word reading backwards, make to what, and z what's rock, and m from. You see the same thing in the Greek. When the m follows a word, it means that which is from the word before it. And so what's rock from? And so about this time, the rock and the seagoing people, that was Britain. That's where their name come from. And the Britain, and it means in writ, in legal term, in legal writings, in writ. In any in pimptive writ, make to what's rock 'em of the Macarich. And so it says that there was a lot of Irish living out there on the British rock at that time. And then if you read it with the law symbols, and you don't read these A words backwards, and it's and any Macum, in he, any, and Macum, big time. Any in a Macum, and Additir, A-T-I-T, Additir, and like a musketeer, Additir Britty. Attack 'em, what 'em corps, the corps, the army, and attack 'em, what 'em corps, and then back the other way. And what a corps, rock 'em a hurricane. And that's where you heard a hurricane come from, a hurry, base word here, after. Behind is what they'll say that is. Whoever's in a hurry is because they're behind. It doesn't mean behind, it means a hurry. The Britty attack 'em, that's sailors. You got to tack back and forth. And attack 'em, what 'em corps, that's the Navy. Rock 'em a hurricane. And so they just sailed through this hurricane, for 40 days and nights there. So there were sailing people. They lived on a rock. They were a chief in writ in legal writings, and they wrote in English. They ruled the world. Their scribes schooled in Egypt. And there's some more information the next time this covenant comes up a couple lines down here. And I'm going to skip all these creatures here because this is all code words for astrology, what was going on in the stars at this time. This was going to tell that. And then that covenant comes up again, the same way in 11, with the same tack. It's just not any this time. It's and the, the and the vav is and the committee, and then the committee to enwrit, and the committee into enwrit. This I established my covenant. Enwritty make to will, and so that's why I call this, the law and the lay, the layman, and this is, and lay, L-A. The next word is start with a Y and often with the vav at the other end. So when you're reading it the second time with this tack, the first time it's the lay and the second time it's the law. And so this looks like, a lacer, shall be cut off. It's talking about core and rocks in the last line, and they probably did have a lacer cut off. But this is more like accurate. And will lay cert. That's where your word certain come from. And cert means on the money. And cert in, on the money in, certain. And accurate. Will accurate. And will accurate call in the shroud. The shroud of my emblem. And so this is a big clue right here. The flood. The flood waters is the emblem of Nu. This dude. It means the highest the waters get. From my emblem. By the waters of the flood. From my emblem. And lay cert call in shroud from my emblem. And will again. And it starts with the I again. And lay high, hood, H-O-W-D, and lay high, howd, from bull, B-U-L-L, from bullshit-hears. They're the bullshit-hears, and if they just told you that they drove through the hurricane, they might have just pulled in bullshitting, because they were bullshitteers. And so the other clue is the power. You sit on the power. And so this is a wall in Egypt, and it's got the 8 gods on there, the 4 and the counterpart. And so you can see the counterpart's power is a cross. And this one been destroyed. It's the only one of the 8. They didn't want anybody to know what this was. But I'm going to bet you that it looked more like a rebel flag, and that was a symbol of new, as have a new government, a rebellion. And every time a flood come, you come back with a new land. It was all brand new again. And so we'll read it the other way in the law, in the committee at a tier in riddy at come will a trick, the other way will a tricky cert. A tricky cert, to insert a little trick into the writings. That's what the whole Bible's about. The trick is cert. The colors in shroud. And your colors is your flag. Colors in shroud from my emblem. And then a lessee. The A-E is the British god Ash. It's pronounced E-S. And a lessee. And a lessee and backwards and forwards. And a lessee hood. The hood, on the boat. The hood shall be there. Captain. And hood 'em bullshitters. And so on this wall of the Egyptian Ogdo, they all have a similar pattern here. It looks more like American flag, stripes, dots going this way, red and white stripes. But New's counterpart, hers changes into a red X. And they totally removed his, and it surely looked like the British cross, I'm sure. So I'm guessing that his emblem, looked like this Florida flag. Or best chances it looked like this old British flag. Or possibly the rebel flag. And there was an old French flag with a barbed X on it that used to fly over Alabama, I believe. That looked like this. The only sure thing is they didn't want us to know. None of the other part of the wall got damaged. Wasn't accidental. It might just be a big rebel flag with a rose in the box here. And then comes, from the bullshit hears and yammer what the bullshitters had to say. The flood to destroy the earth from the bullshit hears and says, all him is taught, T-A-U-T, thought, taught. And all him is taught the British reign, R-A-N-I, reign, not in ben of Vanicum, of Vanicum, your iniquities, grossly and unfair behavior and injustice and inequality. And all him is taught the British reign, not in ben of Inicum, and are not equal of in. So that was your real Hebrew, was the British. Thought they was better. And cull naps high. Naps, to cull, to select, and your naps, your nups, nuptials, the marriages, and call nups high, hazard at come, and literate, the LD or the LT, literate, and literate allum. And so the all spelt with the OWL like the owl, and then the M, that was also the symbol of the owl. And so this all, that's the same all used in the spelling of the normal palette, the official. That's where the all comes from in official. And two fist in tie, Bonnie. So this second N reads as a I in Bonnie. And this is known as the old Bonnie Blue. But this is Bonnie White, W-E-I-T-E, W-H-I-T-E. And two fist in it tie, Bonnie White. And the law, what? Britain, of the covenant between me, the Britain, the B, reading as an N, or in, rid of in, been ears. And so Bonnie White, that's probably the Israeli flag, to fist in tie. And so the hand in Egypt was the D, and the triangle is the D. So two triangles, that's it. The two fist in it tie, Bonnie White. The law, what Brit, being of in hears. The ones that are writing the law. The law, what in writ, being of in hears. And then they, Bonnie John. This, the second N turns into the I, and this one here, reading over here, the Bonnie John, Bonnie Johnny. The Bonnie Johnny all hears. And when wrote the Festivani was 32 the Brady Asher, Benny of a Nickum of in, called naps high in called basher, and lay high hood them a millum, and lay high hood them a millum, the bullshit celebs, and white the fist Bonnie wear a tie, to wear a tie. And then L, and wear a tiles curve riddles. Where a tiles curve riddles. And that's where the word comes from, Brit, and it's used in the writings, and it's in the riddles, in the riddle from the covenant everlasting, in the riddle from Ben Alim. And this Alim, that's the God sitting on the throne. The throne is the A. You look at it and it's the shape of the A. And all the gods, they take the form of this L when they sit. The gods, all him. And all him of in call naps high. In clubs are assure all hears. And so hears is most likely hearts, the earth. Love, the earth, the hearts. But, that's of the covenant, the Brit. The covenant comes up all these ways, and it's always in the writings, in the riddles, in the British. And so I'm convinced, and there ain't no Israelites can come up with enough proof to sway me. The British are the covenant people. Ash, Ash is a man, and the covenant man is the British. Up here with Moses, the covenant is still the Brit, the British, the British. In Deuteronomy, it's still the British. In Chronicles, the covenant with David is still the British. Jeremiah the German is still the British. Ezekiel knew that it had come in from Surt, the Brit. All the way to Malachi, the last time it's used like this, it's the British. And you wonder how long it's been going on, and it's, for forever. It's been going on forever. It's always been the British. And the Hebrew midwives, they were the of Brit. They were of the British. And that was the women. They were ovaries, the O-V-R-I, the ovary. Hebrew means British women. If you want to learn the Hebrew language, you're going to have to learn of Brit. If you watch the news lately, you'll see that all the officials over there in Israel, they all speak English because the Hebrew language is just something invented the past 100 years to push this story they created on these writings. So I had enough. I never said British so many times in my life, and that was all in just like 5 lines. The Hebrews are British women, but this is your old covenant men here. British covenant men. Alright, I'm going to cut this off here. Good day.